You have found what lights you up. I'm your host, Sunny the Life Coach, and I'm here because I see you searching for something or someone out there to help you feel better. Something to take away the pain that you're feeling, the inadequacies. I know all of the things that happen in life can leave you feeling empty. Your search is over. This podcast is all about finding your own freedom and power to love yourself enough to shine in the ways you were always meant to, the ways in which you are already fully capable of. If you're ready for some real talk, some serious truth bombs, and a few F-bombs, you are in the right place. Let's do this. Let's get lit. Hey there, and welcome to episode 41. I hope you had an enjoyable holiday season, and now it's back to reality. Many of you are returning to work this week or have already, and your kids are returning to school. If you have kids in school, hopefully you gave the school calendar a quick check and didn't send yours off to the bus stop on a staff development day like we did. We were all ready to get back to our routines, even the kid. He wasn't even mad when he came back around the corner after he realized the bus wasn't coming. He was actually laughing about it and admitted that he was ready to go back. Fun times. If you happen to listen to my bonus episode just before this one, I did a little exercise on reflection for the year, because that's what we do in the December-January timeframe. Many of us do anyway. If you do not, that's quite all right. Either way, I encourage you to check out this episode if you have identified anything at all that you want to accomplish this year, no matter how big or small. I want to help keep you on track this time instead of abandoning your plans by February, because change is not happening as fast as you want it to. I just want to share some tips with you today in a bit more detail than my mention on the Happy New Year episode. It has been my observation that most of you will ditch your resolutions by February for whatever reason. It doesn't matter the reason, really. I do think a majority of them come down to one of these two things. One, we say we don't have the time to dedicate toward accomplishing that goal, whatever it may be. Two, we aren't seeing the results we wanted fast enough. Well, both of those reasons, which are really excuses, are bullshit, by the way. First of all, I see you binging on Netflix, and I've done a little bit of that myself over the holiday season. Hello, Cobra Kai is amazing, and I have zero regrets about it. So you need to call your own bullshit when you say you don't have time, and acknowledge the hours you've been spending scrolling social media or even posting your question on social media. What's the next binge-worthy series I should tackle? You have the time. You just aren't allocating it toward the part of your life that you really want to improve. Why do we do this? Basic instinct, of course. Seek pleasure, avoid pain, save energy. It takes a lot less energy to veg out for a few hours with Cobra Kai than it does to go to that 30-minute HIIT class that you signed up for, especially if you are fortunate enough to have an open gym to attend in person. You have to travel there too. That takes a level of commitment that your brain is definitely going to resist at first because it wants to rest and save energy. It's our default programming. Maybe you're like me. Any form of cardio is my least favorite thing to do on the planet. So finding a reason to redirect my focus to something else, anything else, is pretty easy to do. Oh, you don't feel like it today? Cool, let's skip it. Time is an interesting debate, and one that I'm happy to participate in, because time is a mental construct. And what I mean by this is Time is something that we humans have decided that either we have an abundance of or that is in short supply. Yet, time does not discriminate. Every one of us gets the same 24 hours in a day, and every one of us gets to choose what to do with it. It doesn't matter how much money you make, where you live, where you work, what you do for a living. Every single one of us gets the exact same number of hours to spend in our day. It's really the most valuable currency that we have. Because once you spend it, it's gone. You can't make more of it like you can with money. It's single use with no ability to recreate or regenerate. How are you spending your time? I've even come to view it in alignment with that uncertainty factor. What happens tomorrow or even in the next hour was never certain. You really don't know. But here's what you can do. You can have a plan for how you are going to spend your time. And you can follow through with that plan to the extent that the universe cooperates. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, you just follow the plan that you have laid out for your day. And that plan should certainly include the actions you need to take in order to reach your goal. Now, time management is a fun concept for me because I see how well this works in my own life and my own ability to reach my goals. And without getting too detailed into time management itself, let me just share from a high level what has worked for me. First, decide what you want to accomplish by the end of the week or the month. What I like to do is have a monthly plan and then work backwards, figuring out what I need to do each week in order to make it happen. So let's take weight loss, for example. That's usually a good one to apply in January because so many of us like to go there. Let's say that I want to lose 10 pounds this month. Notice what I did there. Now, I may want to lose 30 pounds total, but I'm going to keep it to a manageable 10 pounds for this month. Now, what do I need to do to make that happen? More importantly, how do I need to feel in order to take the actions I'm going to need to take? Remember where feelings come from. They come from your thoughts. Let's get back to basics today because your underlying thoughts are driving all of your actions or lack thereof. I'm working backwards from that result that I want. I need to show up every single day consistently. We'll get to consistency more in just a moment. Let's say that I want to have the emotion of determined to drive my actions. In order to show up every day, I need to feel determined. I need to believe that this is attainable. In fact, that's the thought I'm going to think. This is attainable. And that's the thought I'm going to revert back to every moment throughout the first week that my monkey mind wants to do something different than what I've planned. So if I've decided that by the end of the month I want to lose 10 pounds, then I'm going to break that down into about 2 pounds per week. What actions do I need to take each day? Each day. Well, I need to plan in advance exactly what I'm going to eat. And I need to work in some form of exercise every day. Whatever you want, whatever works for you. At this point in your life, you've probably tried enough different programs out there to know. Does intermittent fasting work for you? Whole30, paleo, low carb, Mediterranean, a combination of intermittent fasting and one of those others. There are so many different ways to nourish your body, and every body is different. I do happen to know what works for me, and I know what I plan to eat. That's the key. Plan in advance. Do not leave it to chance. Plan in advance, don't leave it to chance. I didn't mean to make a rhyme there, but that could be a nice little motto, couldn't it? Wonder if it's already taken. Seriously, I just made it up. I'll have to check into that. Anyway, here's the second thing related to planning and time that was a real game changer for me last year. Everything goes on your calendar. Schedule everything. For this scenario, that means not just what you're going to eat, but when you are going to eat. This may be easier for those of you that have office jobs or set schedules, but for those who do not, this may be a little more challenging because you've just allowed this to be left to chance in the past. And if you're working from home, you may just be grazing. You may not have a plan at all. Or your coworkers invite you out to lunch at the last minute, and that sounds way better than what you've packed for yourself. This will take a little more discipline in the beginning, just like with anything new. Anything new. Don't beat yourself up if you slip, and you sure don't want to throw in the towel if you accepted that lunch invitation. Okay, it is what it is. You move on from it and you get right back on track. You don't just quit. Many of us do that, however. We're like, well, I just blew my entire plan, so what's the fucking point? Exactly why so many people just quit altogether after a few weeks. You're not going to do that this time, because now I'm going to talk about the second thing that I mentioned at the top of this episode that keeps you from accomplishing your goals. It's also one of the most crucial things that we don't always consider, and that is consistency. The second thing I mentioned as to why people ditch their resolutions is that they aren't seeing results they wanted or expected fast enough. So once again, it becomes a why bother scenario. When in reality, it is the small, consistent daily actions that end up compounding over time, the one thing that we say we don't have enough of, that get you the results you're after. We want a quick fix. I get it. That's not hard to understand. We have a current on-demand society that has conditioned us that we can get whatever we want faster than ever before. Or there are promises of just do this for 30 days and you'll be there. And we think, okay, I can give it 30 days. Then we don't recognize that those little seemingly insignificant things like diverting to a lunch with friends a few times along the way have weakened our consistency. Maybe it hasn't weakened that feeling of determination, but it's chipped away at it, and it definitely has an impact on consistency. Again, I'm not saying to beat yourself up or quit altogether because you didn't follow through on one meal plan, or even 4 of them. But I do ask that you recognize and acknowledge to yourself, okay, I didn't follow through today, not entirely. So how am I going to improve on this evening and tomorrow? What wins did I have today? How can I improve tomorrow? If you don't look at your progress, even just the little seemingly mundane things that you do throughout each day, then you're just leaving your success to chance. That's in anything that you do. And if you do that, maybe that success will happen and maybe it won't. So those questions that I ask myself at the end of the year in terms of reflecting can be done weekly and they can be done daily. This doesn't have to take a lot of time. Give yourself 5 freaking minutes to reflect. Ideally, you sit with yourself and maybe even write it down if that's your jam. But of course, there's always the idealistic and the realistic. If you're driving to or from the gym or someplace, or you're out for a daily walk and feel like doing a little multitasking, that's fine too. I'm simply asking you to pay attention to what you've accomplished during the day and how you can improve tomorrow. Doing this is going to keep your focus and your energy on what it is that you want. Now let's talk just a little bit more about that compound effect that I mentioned because it's important. Every small action that you take towards your goal is going to compound over time, and you're going to be building on a solid framework as long as you continue, 1 step at a time, 1 hour at a time, one day, 1 minute at a time. This concept is often compared to how compound interest works financially. Even if your initial investment was moderate in the beginning, that interest is going to continue to build in a compound manner. It doesn't happen rapidly, but over time, those small dollar amounts continue to add up. That's why it's important to notice and acknowledge to yourself every day what your wins were, no matter how insignificant they may seem. I was listening to a podcast earlier this week where I heard another coach, Corinne Crabtree, say this about doing these daily activities. She said, "Today is where the bricks are laid, how the foundation is created." And this is what she tells herself when she does this daily work, that work of noticing and acknowledging even what seems insignificant in the moment, even what you know you won't be able to see right away, and certainly not what anyone else will be able to see. Back to the weight loss scenario, I read somewhere many years ago that you'll have to lose at least 12 pounds for anyone else to notice. That's why it's so important for you to notice every small win, especially in the beginning. If you're not familiar with Corinne and her work, I invite you to Google. She managed to lose 100 pounds on her own and to create a multi-million-dollar business and helping others do the same. I would say this woman knows a thing or two about leveraging the power of time and consistent action, because she's been doing this for over 10 years now. Here's another way to put it. Well, it was put in a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It was gifted to me by a dear friend a couple of years ago, and it's one of my favorites to revisit. Jeff writes, "When you make the right choice, you don't see the results, at least not today. And that is a problem in our push-button, mouse-click, 24-hour news world. We expect to see results, and we expect to see them now. But that's not how success is built. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Progressive means success is a process, not a destination. It's something you experience gradually over time. Failure is just as gradual. In fact, the difference between success and failure is so subtle, you can't even see it or recognize it during the process. And here's how real success is built. By the time you get the feedback, the real work's already done. When you get to the point where everyone else can see your results, tell you what good choices you've made, notice your good fortune, slap you on the back, and tell you how lucky you are, the critical slight-edge choices you made are ancient history. And chances are, by the time you actually made those choices, nobody noticed but you. And even you wouldn't have noticed unless you understood the power of the slight edge." Ah, yes, that book is truly a gem. I highly recommend it. What he's saying here supports what I just said too about weight loss as an example. And without giving away too much of the book, I'll just tie back to one of Jeff's concepts, to the overall conversation of those small, consistent daily actions. Each one of them are very easy to do. They are also easy not to. The difference in whether you succeed or whether you don't lies consistently in those daily actions. He addresses the time factor too, of course, because that's what most of us get hung up on, lack of time, when really it's lack of priority. That's all. We just lie to ourselves and claim that everyone else is more important, including what your friends on Instagram have posted over the weekend. All those sneaky thoughts. I'll just scroll for a few minutes, and before you know it, you've lost an hour. Lost it. But you haven't noticed that you just got sucked in, and the choice that you made to scroll was yours alone to make. You chose to give up that hour of your precious time that you can't get back, in the moment, on a whim, or on an impulse. Just don't go saying you don't have time. You do. You just need to reprioritize some things in your life. I'm always going to tell it to you straight. Now, another thing that clients will do is bristle at the suggestion to put everything on their calendar. I get that. I did too at first. I really resisted that. However, if you want a solid routine of being able to reflect where your time went each day and each week, I highly recommend that you give this a try, because doing this allows you to make your decisions in advance of how you're going to spend your time. It takes all of that indecision off the table for any free time that you have, and you're less likely to end up giving it away to something or someone that isn't in support of your goal. This is not selfish. This is having your own back. This is not busy work. This is creating freedom. You're freeing your mind up to focus on and prioritize those activities that you already know you need to do, instead of spinning around in confusion about what to do next or what to eat next, and ending up saying, fuck it, let's channel surf instead, after I sift through the 200 comments about what shows my friends are recommending that I binge on. I know what you're doing. I absolutely get it. You're seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, and saving energy. You're just being human. That's fine. It's what humans do. If you want to evolve from behaving like a caveman or a cavewoman, you're going to need to be on to yourself. And let me be crystal clear. This has absolutely nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with focusing on what it is that you really want. Putting your energy toward that, prioritizing that one thing so you can make it happen, creating the time for each small daily activity that you need to complete because you have prioritized it. Demonstrating consistency in that action to back up your word to yourself. Having your own back and being willing to say no to the things that aren't in support of your desires in this moment. I'm telling you, the ultimate payoff is huge. And one last thing that I want to remind you of. This is a concept that I introduced in episode 18, which is there is no better than here. Just remember that you should be having fun as part of your journey, not waiting until you arrive at the destination. Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in this life, I can assure you that you will still have negative emotions. If you crush your first 30-day goal, fantastic. Then set another and keep going. This time stretch outside of your comfort zone, and a little more the next time. Just don't set an expectation that getting there is going to make you happier, that everything is finally going to be wonderful all of the time, and that life will be great. That's not how it works, because you still have you and your thoughts along for the ride. While a very important thing to remember about feelings is that you know they will drive your actions and results, it's also crucial to understand that it's your choice each moment of each day to feel exactly what you want to feel right now. I do recommend you channel those feelings you wish to have for your journey. That's going to further fuel you and send that great, vibrant, and positive energy out into the world. There's still a lot going on in this world that surrounds us. Nothing has changed but the date on the calendar. Might as well appreciate and make the most of your time here. Make this week, this month, the time that you shine. As Rumi says, in each moment the fire rages. It will burn away 100 veils and carry you 1,000 steps toward your goal. What do I mean when I say create time if we all have the same amount of it every day? I mean create more of the time to do what you want to do, what you need to do to keep that fire going. You can't ignore the flames for days on end and then wonder why you have to start all over, building it like nothing ever happened. It might take a bit of effort to get started. In fact, it will. Expect that. but it doesn't take much to keep it going. Just small, consistent, daily actions. I will be doing a free class online on this topic very soon. If you'd like a deeper dive into how to take action, create more freedom, and enjoy the process, head over to my website at sunnythelifecoach.com. Get on my list so you'll always have the latest and greatest information. Welcome again to 2021, and may this be the greatest year of your life. Light that fire, and then do the small things needed to keep it burning. Light up, shine on.